Welcome everybody to another session of Office Hours. Today is Office Hours session number 43. It's the 5th, or it's the 26th of May. And today we're going to be talking about tips for collecting reviews and feedback. Reviews and feedback are an essential part of any business that does high volume sales and even low volume sales, and can provide insights into your business that you never really knew. And you can really start to see how customers actually perceive your products and services. Oftentimes as business owners, we get trapped in our own little heads, and we just think about what we would want from our companies and not necessarily what our customers want from our businesses. So we're really going to be focusing on the best ways to go about collecting reviews and feedback. But first, some announcements. Number one, if you have a question at any point, please feel free to pop that into the live chat. I have it open here on my right-hand side screen. And if you have a question, what I do is I repeat it live here on the call and answer it. The way it works is we have our actual kind of like topic, which is reviews and feedback, and then we go into an open Q&A. So if you have questions unrelated to reviews and feedback, I ask that you keep them till the Q&A portion of the call. And if you have questions related to reviews and feedback, you can just pop those in while we're actually doing today's topic. So this office hour session is, of course, going to be recorded and posted to both YouTube as well as our office hours catalog on Groundhogg Academy. If you want to watch this office hours later, or you want to watch any of our previous office hours sessions, you can go to our Academy site and browse through those. I think this is actually going to be the last reminder because it ends on Saturday. The 31st of May will be the end of our 3-year deal. Essentially what it is you can pay for a subscription for any of our premium plans, the Agency Pro or Plus plan, and you pay for 2 years upfront and you get a 3-year long license. So it's like buy 2 years, get one free. It's extremely valuable. So it's basically like buying any of those plans at 33% off. So it's a great deal. This offer expires May 31st and is valid for the Agency Pro and Plus plan only. When the end of May 31st rolls around and we turn over into June, this offer will no longer be available. If you already have an existing license and you want to still claim this deal, we are offering prorated upgrades to this deal, and those are available on request. So either submit a support ticket or message our page to claim that. Exciting news, Mailhawk, which is a service that our team has been working on, is now available, and you can connect Mailhawk to Groundhogg by going to Groundhogg settings and the email tab, and there is a button that says connect Mailhawk, and we will start helping you deliver your WordPress emails to the inbox faster and more reliably. Plans start at $14.97 a month for around 40,000 emails a month, so it's great value. And initial test showed 9.8 deliverability score on mailtester.com without doing any DNS updates or SPF or any of that stuff. So really good out-of-the-box deliverability. So it's really, really exciting that we're going to be able to bring this service to our Groundhogg customers and to WordPress customers of all sorts, because Mailhawk is not Groundhogg specific and will work for any WordPress emails, including Lifter LMS notifications or WooCommerce payment receipts. We really cover the whole board, and it's specialized WordPress email delivery, and we only focus on WordPress email delivery. So some great stuff coming out there, and Mailhawk is now available, so you can go sign up for that. So let's get into the crux of today's topic, which is collecting reviews and feedback. I broke this up into a few sections, starting with why should you ask for reviews and feedback? This obviously probably seems super apparent to you, but I'll just run it through for the sake of brevity. Collecting reviews allows us to build social proof. Before I purchase anything, straight to the review section. If it's got bad reviews, I move on. If it's got good reviews, then I buy. If you have no reviews, then that can also be a symptomatic problem and prevent customers from making that investment. So you want to make sure that you're collecting reviews in order to build the social proof and to show other people that they believe in your product. Collecting reviews and feedback allows you to get insight into how customers actually perceive your product. I was speaking earlier as business owners, we tend to get caught up in our own mindset, in our own head, and it prevents us from viewing our products objectionally, and we therefore see the products from our point of view and not necessarily the customer's point of view. I remember in the early days of building Groundhogg, I thought it was like the easiest platform to use and way simpler than ActiveCampaign, Infusionsoft, and HubSpot. But when reviews started coming in and started getting some feedback, I learned that it was not at all necessarily simpler. It just had a whole new set of challenges for our customers to overcome, and we had to fix those along the way. So that kind of feedback and insight will help you create better products and services. Collecting reviews and feedback can also improve your customer relationship. Psychology and studies show that when customers provide feedback, they actually feel more responsible for your product and service, and they're actually more inclined to continue using your service in the future if they leave a positive review and feedback. So that's something that's super interesting. Not only is feedback and reviews good for social proof and getting new customers, it actually acts as a retention tool for existing customers, which I think is super interesting. And I learned that in a book, which I have actually. I found this book at a used bookstore, and it's called Yes, 50 Scientifically Proven Ways to Be Persuasive. And there's some really interesting studies in here about the psychology of doing people favors and how that actually impacts the customer-business relationship. So collecting reviews and feedback, customers are more inclined to continue using your service in the future than if they were not to give a review. So super interesting stuff there. And here's something that I wanted to put together, and that's the timing of when you should actually be asking for a review. And the ideal time kind of varies depending on niche, and of course there's exceptions to all of what I'm about, but consider these some general recommendations. So number one is digital products. Now this covers stuff like software, like Groundhogg, maybe ebooks, kind of like one-sheets, anything considered digital, not necessarily courses. Courses are going to put it in their own category, but kind of like one-off purchases, maybe subscriptions. And I find that the best day to collect reviews is 14 days after the initial purchase. Now, there's a few reasons for this. Number one, depending on the stickiness of your product and your return policy, we have a 14-day hard cutoff return policy, refund policy rather. So after 14 days is the great time to send the reminder and say, okay, well, if they haven't made that refund request within those 14 days, then they're stuck with the product, they're using the product, it's sticky, they've implemented it. Now is an excellent time to gauge their response and to get some feedback and review. So we send our reviews out 14 days after purchase. So that's what I find. If you are doing like a 7-day refund or return policy or longer than that, then I recommend 14 days. I feel like that's like a really, really, really good one. If you're doing longer than that, I wouldn't go longer than 14 days. If you want to do shorter, it also depends on the time required to actually implement or get value out of the digital product. I find people get value out of Groundhogg within that 14-day period, either by creating a funnel or sending their first broadcast email, by going through the course. So that's what I find works, at least for our business, and 14 days I feel is a pretty good general guideline. Courses. So a lot of course creators in this group, and my big face is covering some of that, so I'm just going to make my face smaller. Courses, 0 to 1 days after course completion is what I find works. The reason for this is the vast majority of people do not necessarily ever implement the value that they learn in a course. And that's kind of just true. It's always like the 20-80 rule, where 80%, 100% of people are going to love the course, but only 20% of people are actually going to do anything with the information. And that's kind of just the way that it is. If you're getting higher than that, by the way, congratulations. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you get the review in and you get them to provide that feedback when they're super hyped up. They just finished the course, they got all of the information, and they're super hyped up in order to change their life, change their business, or implement the knowledge that you gave them. You don't want to wait too long, because 80% of those people who complete the course are never going to implement that information. So when you go to them and ask for a review, they're like, well, I never used it, so I never really got to feel like, I got the value out of it. So you want to make sure that for maximum reviews, you're doing it as soon as they complete the course. If you leave it till after the implementation of knowledge, you're going to get a much lower review conversion rate. I'm going to pause quickly to see questions. And I actually I see a bunch of people just coming into the chat and saying good morning. So good morning, everybody. Welcome. No questions so far. If you have a question about reviews or about any of these recommendations, feel free to pop those in the chat at any time. Let's move on to physical products. 2 to 3 days after delivery. This is a pretty simple one. Physical products are usually fairly easy to implement. I mean, if you're shipping clothes, the first thing people do is when they get that, the clothes in the doors, they try them on, right? So you want to make sure that you're within a reasonable amount of time of the delivery of the physical product. That's a fairly self-explanatory one. Services. So if you're a service business, maybe you're cleaning, lawn care, an agency, you want to be sending your review request 0 to 2 days after the service completion. So that means if I sent someone to your house to clean your kitchen, once that kitchen is clean, I want 0 to 2 days that review request to go in. You don't necessarily want to send it immediately while they're there, especially if the customer has some sort of time or labor investment in the service as well. Because if they have some sort of time and labor investment in the service, then they're going to be tired and exhausted after the actual fulfillment. So you want to catch them the day after while they're a little bit more energized and they have some time to actually appreciate the service implementation. So 0 to 2 days, I would go 1 to 2 days. 0 if it's a really simple process and you can really take that review immediately after if the customer has 0 investment other than time. Now let's talk about how to actually go about asking for feedback. Probably the most difficult step out of all of this is how do we ask? How do we get someone to take the time to leave a review or feedback? So number 1, I find incentivizing people to give reviews and feedback actually performs worse than offering 0 incentive other than thank you. And it's really interesting. You think that providing, 30% or discount or like whatever to incentivize reviews, I find it, if the review comes in because of incentive, it's a lousy review because the only reason that they left the review is because that they were incentivized. So it's a lousy review up front. And you don't want lousy reviews. It's just like 3 words. If you go to our review page on wordpress.org, you're going to see like textbook reviews that are like hundreds of words long. And that's because the way that we ask for reviews at Groundhogg is simply out of like the goodness of the people's, we just want to say, hey, listen, leave us a review if we're doing a good job, and we'd really appreciate it. That's what we say. And that has worked really, really, really well for us, as you can see by going to our wordpress.org reviews page. You want to make sure that you specify the actual time investment. People don't want to spend, 10 minutes leaving a review. That's way too difficult. You want to specify, hey, listen, it's going to take you 1 minute to leave a review. And people are like, okay, well, if it only takes a minute, that's not a huge time investment, and I get to feel good about myself because I left a review. So make sure that you're specifying the time investment when you're asking for reviews. Everyone understands stars when leaving reviews, so use them. And I'm going to actually show you an example of how to use stars in Groundhogg emails to collect reviews in a moment. And last, you should be using a trusted third-party review site. If you collect reviews locally on your site, those are so much more untrustworthy than using something like Trustpilot or like the WordPress.org repo or Amazon or Facebook, because if they're just on your site, everybody knows that you have direct control over those reviews and you can moderate them and you can get rid of the bad ones and whatnot. So make sure that you're using a trusted third-party review source. this will automatically build more social proof than if you just collect reviews locally on your site. The email, probably the most important thing, is how do we write the email? What does the email look like? How do we get or design it for maximum effectiveness? So I'm going to show you 2 examples of review requests that we send at Groundhogg. The first one I'm showing you goes out 14 days after the person buys something. So this is when someone signs up for the Pro plan or the Plus plan or the agency. They get this email. It gets a 53% open rate and a 17% click-through rate. It could be better, but it's not terrible. And everybody who did click that link left a review. So, cool stuff. And it goes something like this. We just wanted to follow up with you and make sure that you were successful with your most recent purchase. I actually have a merge field there that merges in their most recent purchase. So if they bought the Pro plan or the Plus plan, etc. And then I asked, how many stars would you rate our products and support? Now, those stars right there, those are just emojis that I copied from Emojipedia. It's just the star emoji, and you can just paste those into the Groundhogg email. And each of those is linked to a specific place. I'm going to get to that in a moment. And then I give a little bit of an explanation. Reviews allow us to grow our customer base, which allows us to build more awesome products, which we can then give to you to help you grow your business. This is essentially just an explanation. This is a little bit of incentivizing because we're essentially what's happening here is we are giving responsibility for the customer success to them in that statement. And then we say, hey, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a shout, just to let them know that we're listening. It's always good to listen. And I sign it off with my signature. So this gets a 53% open rate. By the way, I should mention the subject line for this email is just review please, ? 2 words, review please, ? And I find that has been the best. I've tested a few review request subject lines. That's been the best performer. Just review please. I should probably mention that. That's this email. And then the other email, the other review request email that we send out performs better than this one. And this email goes out following a support request. So if someone launches a support ticket, we time this email to go out at the completion, so when their ticket is actually closed. And it goes something like this, just following up with you after a recent support request instead of purchase. If you thought you had a great interaction and got the answers you needed, please consider leaving us a review. How many stars would you rate our support? 1 through 5. And then again, we go into the explanation, making them responsible for their success. Everybody loves to be responsible for themselves. This one gets a 52% open rate and a almost 30% click-through rate, which is pretty incredible. So those are the 2 kinds of review requests that we send out. Both of them perform very, 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 very well. Before I move on to the next section, there are a few questions. So Mark Williams asks, is there a way to check open rates for a particular email and importantly see a list of people that have not opened? Yes, there is. I'm going to save that till the general Q&A section though, Mark. I hope you're okay with that. Israel asks, is there anything in Groundhogg that would trigger an email after a physical goods delivery? Not at the moment. The best way to do that, I'm not sure if like WooCommerce, I know that you're using WooCommerce Israel. So if you're using WooCommerce and you have I think a ShipStation integration, then I don't know if ShipStation has a trigger that says, this product was delivered. What I would do is just kind of time it for general kind of like product delivery. So if it generally takes anywhere from 7 to 14 days to deliver a product, then I would just time the review request to go out at 14 days. And I'd kind of just guesstimate based on that. So hopefully that answers your question, Israel. If ShipStation does have the ability to, there's some sort of notification that goes out when a product is delivered, then that's something we could definitely look into and help you out with. So let us know if that happens and we can look into it for you. Mark Williams has a follow-up. An important tactic I have used previously is resending a broadcast email to those. Okay, so Mark, I'm going to leave that also for the general Q&A. I typically while we're doing the topic, I generally like to keep the questions relevant to the actual topic at hand. So I'm going to leave those 2 questions for the general Q&A section. I hope that's okay with you. All right, so coming back to the actual review topic, 2 emails. One goes out for product purchase, one goes out for support. And use the stars. So the last part I want to talk about is handling unhappy customers. So you can note that in our 2 review emails, we have 5 stars, 1 through 5. So what happens when people click 4 and 5, and what happens when people click 1 to 3? Well, we have 2 different ways. We don't want to send people who click 1 to 3 stars to the review page because they're going to leave a bad review. We don't want that to happen. We want to mitigate that interaction. We want to mitigate their feelings, and we want to turn that dissenter into a champion. And here's how we do that. So here's how we handle unhappy customers. So 4 to 5 stars, when they click those 2 stars, we send them to our trusted third-party review. In our case, that is our WordPress.org repository page, because that's our trusted review source, and that's where we send people for our reviews. But when they click those 1 to 3 stars, we send them to Triage. Now, what's Triage? Triage is where we try and attempt to turn that person from a dissenter into a champion. We have this special page where when they click that link, they go here and essentially says, "We're sorry you're unsatisfied. Let's make this right. We're committed to providing a stellar customer experience. Book a meeting with me and let me know how we can wow you." And there's a link to a booking calendar, and they just go ahead and they book their meeting for the best that best serves them. This doesn't always work. Not everybody provides the meeting, but it's Triage. We're trying to mitigate, and we're going to do the best job we can. If you get that unhappy customer on a call and they start making lists of demands, I find that the actual best resolution is a compromise. So don't necessarily acquiesce to everything that they ask for, but offer a compromise that meets them halfway. The psychology of offering a compromise makes them and you responsible for their outcome, which is actually a better resolution than you just acquiescing to every single one of their requests. So some interesting psychology there. Compromise is definitely the best way to go when you're mitigating that sort of unhappy interaction. The last thing I would say is that you can't please everyone. And we have certainly had a number of unhappy customers here at Groundhogg. They're very much in the minority, which is great. But not everyone is going to be happy with every decision that you ever make. And that's just kind of the end of it. So don't go breaking your back in order to turn a dissenter into a champion. As long as you offer a compromise and offer them some ground in order to please them and come up with some sort of resolution, you have done your duty in order to make that person happy. If they still do not want to kind of meet you in the middle, and then they're not going to be a good customer, and you're kind of doing yourself a favor by letting that customer go. So note that you can't please everyone. Do what you think is best and offer as much as you can offer and never go beyond that. If the customer still doesn't want to accept your generosity, then that's on them, and they would make a terrible customer anyway, and you can let them go. So some words of wisdom on that front. And I would not leave you hanging I would leave you hanging if I did not provide a review template. I created a copy of our actual review request funnel, and I am going to share that with you. It is tweaked a little bit to be a little bit more general, so you can edit it, but it includes the stars, it includes the copy, and it includes everything that you essentially need in order to start collecting reviews. So I am going to share this with you. I have my share link right here, and I'm pasting that in the comments section. You can go ahead and download that to get your importable Groundhogg funnel template to automatically send review requests. So there you go. Hopefully this is helpful to you and allows you to start collecting reviews in a simple and effective fashion. Alrighty. So now we're going to move on into our general Q&A. So question and answer period. All questions are essentially open now. Open ball field. Just post those into the chat area. What I do is I then repeat them live and I get you an answer right here on the call. And if we need to do demos, or I need to get, like, log into Groundhogg and do some like actual tutorials, that's fine too. There's no such thing as a dumb question. Everybody on this call are at different levels of understanding how Groundhogg works. And my purpose here is to bring everybody up to kind of like an equilibrium and an equal level of information. So please make sure that, don't be shy. There's no dumb questions, and we're all here to help each other. I'm going to go back a little bit, though, because we did have some questions that I postponed till the open Q&A period from Mark. So, Mark, let's cover your questions now. So, number one, is there a way to check open rates for a particular email and see a list of people that have opened, not opened? Yes, there is. If in the new reporting section, if you have not downloaded the 2.2 update, you absolutely should, because it's pretty freaking fantastic. So what you can do, there's two ways to do this, Mark. Number one is you can go to the emails. This is only in the simple editor. We haven't added this link in the pro editor yet. So this note, this is only for people using the simple editor, which is my preferred editor of choice. I have to go find a relevant email. So I should probably open a funnel for that. Let's make this full screen too. So if you're editing a funnel email, then what you can do is you can go ahead and click on edit the email. And there's a link right at the top called reporting. And you can click on that. And what that does is it brings up the reporting view for this particular email. And this is a demo site, so there's not much information here. So let's just bring up that information. And there we go. So it'll show you all of the link clicks that happened for this particular email, the number of sent, the open rate, the click-through rate. You can see total clicks, unique clicks. You can see how many people unopened it. You can see opens, etc. So most of the information that you're ever going to need. You can see which funnels this email is actually included in, and see the stats broken down on a per funnel basis as well. So lots of information here, which you can see on a per funnel basis. The other way that you do it is if you go to the email tab in the reporting area. This report's a bit bigger, so I'm going to have to let it load. Oh, why is it not loading? All right, let's open it on a different tab. Okay, so if you go to the email tab in the Groundhogg reporting area, there's also, you can see a breakdown of all of the top performing funnel emails, the funnel emails that need improvement, that have like bad click-through rates and open rates. And you can click on any of these in order to actually open the breakdown of statistics for those particular emails as well, to get all the open rates and see what links people are clicking. So there's pretty much all the information that you're ever going to need here. Okay, so hopefully that answers your question, Mark, about how to see specific email statistics. There is a follow-up question, and that is resending a broadcast email to those who have not opened the email. That is a supported feature. All you have to do is go to Groundhogg and go to the broadcast tab, go to sent. If you have pro features installed, there is actually just a button that you click, and it says resend to unopened. And that'll automatically resend the broadcast email to everybody that didn't open it. So there you go. Hopefully that helps you too, Mark. Louis says, I participated last week in WordPress meeting in Barcelona, and I commented on the virtues and potential of Groundhogg, so I hope you will start receiving visits from the Hispanic community. Thank you, Louis. I appreciate that. We have lots of translations for Groundhogg. I think one of them is in Spanish, and we also have Portuguese, so hopefully that's helpful. We could use actually improvements in both of those translation files, so if you know anybody that'd be willing to offer their time in order to improve our translations in those languages, then that would be extremely helpful. And Louis has a follow-up actual question, and that is it possible to work with segments? For example, a segment would be clients with certain tags and who meet one or more conditions in terms of metadata. That is, create a segment VIP customers, have tag, and have purchased, and okay. We don't offer that as kind of like a feature per se, as, make sure that anybody has all of these conditions. No, not necessarily. The only thing that you can necessarily do in order to actually find lists of those people would be to go ahead and search. We have a more complex search methodology now. You can specify first name, email, tags, includes, excludes, opt-in status, metadata, create a date, owner, all of that stuff. And once you input all of your information into there, you can click search, and then you can export them, and then you could bulk apply a tag to that import. That would really be my only recommendation, but we don't have kind of a segments that dynamically pull in all of that information. That would be pretty heavy. I know other tools and other CRMs do that. I think they're called magic lists or smart lists, something like that. That's not something we currently have, but we are open to investigation, as we always are. The way that you can request that is by launching a feature request. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add the feature request link to your comment there, and you can go ahead and pop that in, and it will be queued for investigation and potentially one-day release. No guarantees, though. I don't see any questions coming in, so I'm going to give it a few seconds, 30 seconds or so. If you have questions, please post those in the comment section. There are no dumb questions, so don't be shy. We're all here to elevate and provide answers. Everybody in this group is at a different level of education as far as Groundhogg expertise goes, and my responsibility is to bring everybody up to an equilibrium of education so that we turn everybody into power users. So don't be shy. Israel asks, I downloaded and installed the funnel. I don't see the email in the funnel. Am I missing something? So the funnel should look like this. Let's go ahead and... where is it? One second, Israel. So the email should be there, Israel. It should be just in the email step, and it should look something like this. You got your 5 stars, and those are linked to the link click benchmarks below. So I'm just going to try and download it and see what's going on there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to export this real quick. And I'm going to import it. Go ahead and import that funnel. So it looks like the email's there. Maybe it wasn't linked properly when you imported Israel. Go to your emails tab and search how about a review and see if it shows up in the actual listing there. And maybe it just wasn't linked. You can also just click on the little drop down here and type in how about a review and see if that sparks anything as well. So let me know how that goes for you. If you still don't have the email, what I would recommend is you open up a support ticket and we'll just kind of take care of it for you. Louis says, I can help with Spanish translations in my spare time. Tell me how I should coordinate. I would be super grateful for that. If you wouldn't mind messaging our live chat on the Groundhogg website, and what we can do is I can hook up with you there after the call, and we will figure out a way that you can contribute. We actually have a methodology on how to go about translating Groundhogg and some free tools in order to do that. We have a basic translation file for Spanish already, so it should just be tweaking it and making sure that it all contextually makes sense. Because we caught a couple errors in there a few days ago, so we want to make sure that it gets done right. So thank you in advance. Just message our page and we'll set you up there. Thank you. Michael says, thanks for doing these videos. It's rare to see a founder of a company doing weekly videos to their community. Well, thank you, Michael. I take a lot of pride in these office hours, actually, and I do at least kind of like an hour to an hour and a half of pre-prep, putting together all of the assets, putting together the presentation, putting together content, the funnel templates, and these have been just an excellent way for me to communicate directly with customers and provide real-time answers, and I'm happy to do it. And I think office hours is one of the things that really sets Groundhogg apart from some of the other communities in this space. It's just no one else is really doing this level of interaction in the CRM and marketing automation space. So I'm really happy to do it, and I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I'm glad that the content is great. I actually did an office hours a few weeks ago or last week. I don't really remember. I do many of them. So I'm going to pull it up. And I was actually talking about how to build a successful product company. And one of the pillars that I wanted to talk about in that office hours was actually community. And I think one of the most important things that you can have in a community is what I call FaceTime. And that's allowing your customers to see the people kind of like behind the support tickets and behind the software, and really just get to talk directly with you. And it's not on the Academy yet, but it is on YouTube. So let me go pull up YouTube here. You're going to see all of my video preferences on my homepage. And I'm going to link you that this article, Michael, about what I think makes a really, really, really great community and why I think FaceTime is important. Where's my... I just want to view my... I'm not a YouTube person, so I'm just trying to find that video because I did upload it. Oh, it's number 38. So is it on office hours? It is on office hours. Okay, so here we go. Office hours number 38. 3 pillars of growing a product business in 2020, and I talk a lot about the community aspect and how we were able to create such a vibrant community that people are actually interacting, which I think is super cool. Travis Gensler asks, is it possible to send the emails from another contact, not the owner, from an assistant, for example? Sure, yeah. What you can do is you can add assistants. So if you have like a VA or something, then what you want to do in that case is you don't want this VA to have like full privileges for Groundhogg, right? You don't want them to be able to edit funnels or like download stuff. You at basic just want them to be able to, view contacts and be able to show up in the send from area. So what you want to do in that case is you want to add a new user, and you're going to want to set up your VA or your assistant or whoever as a user, but the role that you're going to want to assign to them is either sales representative or sales manager. Now what this does is this limits their permissions in WordPress and in Groundhogg to very, very, very basic, but they show up as an optional send from address in the email. So that's what you're going to want to do. And if you still want to limit their permissions further, then what you can do is you can actually edit the role of sales editor or sales representative using user permissions, the user permissions plugin. User role editor plugin, that's what it's called. So this plugin, what it allows you to do, Travis, is edit the permissions that any user role or specific user has in your WordPress site and limit their capabilities to like view contact records or edit posts and pages and stuff like that. So I would go ahead and check into this plugin as well as using the sales manager or sales representative roles in order to add your assistant to WordPress, but limit their capabilities to edit anything. For more explanation on those roles, we do have an article on our help doc site. And I'm going to link that to you as well. So you can go ahead and check out those two avenues in order to add this person to the WordPress website without giving them permissions and access. Oakley dokley, not seeing any new questions come in. So if you're just joining the call, now is your opportunity. It's open season really to ask any question about Groundhogg marketing, best practices, etc. that you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat your question. We're live on the call and get you an answer as best I can. There are no dumb questions. Everybody on this call is at a different level of education and expertise, and that's totally fine. My role is to elevate everybody to an equilibrium of education so that we are all Groundhogg power users and we can grow, scale, launch our businesses. So please don't hesitate to post your question in the comment section. If there's no new questions in a minute, then we're going to call it a day, and I'll be able to see everybody on the next office hours. And it looks like, as I was saying that, 2 new questions came in, so great. So the first one is again from Mark. Mark asks, is there a way to edit the send time of a broadcast email? For example, scheduled for 10, but I want to change it to 9. No, there is not. You have to cancel it and then reschedule it. The reason for this is when you schedule a broadcast the first time, all of the events are then scheduled in the queue, and if you changed it, then we'd have to go through all of those events, and then there's like the time zone thing, and it's just a super big hassle and not worth the kind of like the resources expense. Much faster to just cancel it and then reschedule it. So that is how you go about editing the send time. Margaret has a follow-up question. When importing and exporting, is this done via a CSV file? Yes, it is. So Groundhogg has a pretty intuitive way for exporting and importing contact lists. The way that you can import a list is by going to the Groundhogg Tools section. And then there's a tab called Import. And this is where you'll import your contacts. I have a few lists uploaded already, but what you can do is you can go ahead and click Import New List and upload your CSV file here. You can also re-import old lists as well if you want to update information or anything, but it shows you all of the lists that you previously uploaded. I can go ahead and click Import on any of these old lists, and what it will do is it will bring you through the field mapping UI, and essentially what you do is you just map this is the column in your CSV file, the value for that column, and then you can select what contact area you actually want to map it to. You can then add any tags that you want, and if you're migrating, for example, from like Infusionsoft or ActiveCampaign, and you've previously confirmed everybody's email, you can mark this checkbox to show that you've actually confirmed them, so they import as confirmed into the CRM. Exporting works similarly. What you can do is you can go to the export area and click on export all contacts. You can also export people based on searches directly from the contacts view. And I can select which fields I want to export. So I can select all of these meta fields. I can select the basic contact fields, lots of ways. And then you can export that CSV accordingly and then download it straight from the browser. So hopefully that helps and explains that to you, Margaret. If you have more questions, then we do have a dedicated help area that contains all of the information that you're ever going to need about importing and exporting, and I am going to link this to you. So you can go ahead and click on that and get all of the information you're going to need about importing and exporting contacts. So hopefully that answers your question, Mark. Rob Rowland has a question. Does Groundhogg support an email app? I have Gmail and webmail accounts. So there's a few ways that interaction can be used. I know some CRMs have like a browser extension that integrates the email app with the CRM. We do not have that currently. Groundhogg is self-hosted software, which makes that a little difficult. So I'm gonna say for now that the answer is not necessarily yes. Maybe in the future, and the APIs for that become a little bit more open. If you are talking about can I send email from Groundhogg through your webmail or Gmail, the answer to that is yes, but not recommended. It is much better to use a transactional email service like Mailhawk, which I can now recommend. For those of you who are joining the call late, me and a partner have created a brand new transactional email service specifically designed for delivering WordPress-based email. I'm going to move my big head over here so that you can actually see those numbers. So in order to sign up for Mailhawk, you can go to Groundhogg settings and then the email tab, and there's a big button that says Connect Mailhawk. Plans start at $14.97 a month for 40,000 emails, and we have bigger plans for bigger senders. Without doing any DNS work and basically just like the one-click install, we have a 9.8 deliverability score for mailtester.com, which is, I think, super, super, super good. So this is now available. So if you're looking for a transactional email service and you don't really want to think about it and you kind of just want to like set it and forget it, then Mailhawk is definitely the new way to go. Hopefully that answers your question, Rob. I am going to have to end the call quite soon as I have another meeting coming up in a little bit. So I have time for a few short questions. I'm going to give around 30 seconds. If no new questions come in, then we're going to end the call. If there's a little bit of downtime, that is because it takes around 20 seconds from the words leaving my mouth to reach you. So if there's just a little bit of dead space, don't worry. Okay, I'm not seeing any new questions come in, which means that everybody had their questions answered this session, which is awesome. I always love when that happens and we don't leave anybody hanging. So if you do have questions and the office hours session ended and you didn't get a chance to ask your question, we do have additional resources for you to potentially get those questions answered. You can go to the academy.groundhogg.io website. We have a couple of free courses there, specifically our Course Creators Essentials course, as well as our official onboarding course. If you haven't taken either of those, you definitely should. Lots of valuable information, and we'll get your funnels up and running by the end of the course, which I think is super cool. If you need implementation help, you're not really the kind of person who wants to do all the work, you just want someone to do it for you, then we have those people on hand. You can go to our certified partner directory, a link is there, and communicate with a certified partner. If you prefer for us to make an introduction, what you can do is you can email us at outreach@groundhogg.io or partners@groundhogg.io with your project details, and we will connect you with a partner that we believe would match your specific needs. We have people who are really good at non-for-profits. We have people who are really good at gyms. We have people who are really good at working with other agencies. So we really have a huge pool of expertise from over 35 certified partners around the world. So if you need help, we can connect you with someone who we think would fit the bill. So you can either email outreach@groundhogg.io or partners@groundhogg.io, or go to the certified partner directory and find someone that would be able to help you. If you know someone who would benefit from using Groundhogg and you want to be rewarded for referring them, then what you can do is you can go to our affiliate area and register as an affiliate to earn 10% recurring commissions on every Groundhogg sale. So you can go to affiliate area /registration for that. If you're not following us, again, you should be. Groundhogg WP on both Facebook and Twitter. Give us a like, give us a follow, and you should also subscribe to us on YouTube, where we post these recordings for office hours as well as other educational videos. I am also now personally on Twitter, so if you want to follow me personally, I'm going to be posting kind of like inspirational stuff and the journey of Groundhogg and Mailhawk and just some insights into running a WordPress plugin business. Then you can follow me at Adrian Toby on Twitter. I spent this whole call talking about why reviews are great and why you should be asking for them, and now it's my turn to ask for reviews. So they really do help in a lot of ways that I actually explained on this call, and now you know why that we ask for them. So if you wouldn't mind taking the 2 minutes, again specifying the time investment, 2 minutes to go to the wordpress.org plugins area and leaving us a 5-star review, I would be most eternally grateful. If you have more questions following this call, you can continue to comment on the thread. We will continue to monitor it. You can post in the Facebook group. That is what the group is there for. You can message our live chat on the website. You can message us at GroundhoggWP on Twitter or email us info@groundhogg.io. Lots of ways to get in touch. I think it's important for businesses to be able to be reached. So you reach us in any of those ways if you continue to need help. Next office hour session will be next week, Tuesday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will receive an email with localized dates and times for your region. So keep on the lookout for that. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week, 3 p.m. Tuesday, for another session of office hours. Thank you, everybody, and have a wonderful day.